Welcome back to xxxHolic Anime Review Part 9. Like I said in my last part, this one I'm discussing my final thoughts on the xxxHolic anime, a brief thoughts on the sequel manga, and I'm going to reveal what series I'm going to talk about, I'm going to review next. We'll work on next. Okay, first let's talk about my final thoughts on the xxxHolic anime. Now, the reason why I call it xxxHolic is because basically saying xxxHolic, it's kind of implied. When I first saw this sound, of course, a lot of people might suspect with the name like Triple X in the title with three X's, it might be implied I'm reviewing porn. Nope, this series has nothing to do with porn at all. I mean, that's generally the consensus a lot of people have about when they see the three X's like that. Yeah, because usually, a lot of the time, if it's porn, it comes after the main title. This, of course, is part of the main title, but it's before the big word. And a lot of the time, when you see this, it's usually three lowercase x's and then the holic. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing about when I was looking at basically what chapters out per episode, from what I could tell, that the first episode of the first season, now it's basically adapting from the first couple chapters, like 10, 11. That's all I can find. And from what I can tell for the second season, it's mostly like a very loose adaptation of like chapters like between 50 and 70. And basically the last two miniseries is from toward the end of the actual manga, which I forgot to reveal that apparently at the end of the first one basically ends imply Yuko may have come back at the end of the first part of that particular one. Yeah. And it is something, though, that the series, before the anime even started, we had a feature film for these characters. Luckily enough, Funimation basically took the trouble, of dubbing the actual film itself. The film itself was only about 60 minutes, which is quite short for an anime film, because with the exception of the first film of Yu Hakusho, generally these films tend to range from an hour and a half to about 2 hours. That's generally how long each anime film I've seen generally lasts for. Yeah, generally by far the shortest one I've ever seen. Of course, it's got beautiful animation. Gotta love it. Now, in the case of the main series itself, the back, with the exception of the characters, which they just look so bizarrely, the way that the animation looks, it's so gorgeous. It's so really good. The manga is fantastic. I highly recommend checking out the manga. Even though it's only 213 chapters, I recommend mainly checking out the omnibus books, not the regular ones, because the regular ones don't actually complete collecting the manga for some reason. I have no idea why. But I would recommend just the Triple X Holic omnibus books. I read them all online. I'm not sure what site I'm reviewing them on, but I did read them online. And it's just a really good series to read. And the creators of the series, Clamp, they love crossing it with other stuff they've actually done. But mainly just Tabashi with Reservoir Chronicle and a little bit with Cardcaptor Sakura. That's basically the ones. They're part of the same shared multiverse when it comes to these three particular series. Now, the main manga was produced from 2003 to 2011. No, I was not reading the manga at that point. I'm reading the manga until recently. The anime itself was only on the air. Now, here's the weird thing about the anime itself. The first season started airing from, to get to the top here, from April 6th, 2006, and it stopped on September 28th, 2006. The second season did start almost 2 years later. As for why, no idea why. And it was actually shorter than the first season. The first season was 24 episodes. The second season was only 13 episodes. And unlike the first season, which is basically a lot of standalone episodes, with the exception of a couple two-parters, the second season was a series of loosely connected episodes, and actually felt very serialized, which a lot of people probably like that about some certain anime, when they feel like a lot of serialization, just like they do for the manga, which probably got some people a lot of high praise. Now, from what I heard, the reason why the Funimation stopped dubbing. Now, Funimation only dubbed the first season and the film. That's basically it. Despite the fact there's still one season and two miniseries left, they just stopped. From what I heard, the reason why they actually this because apparently the DVD sales were poor. That is the reason why for that. If that was the reason, why is the first season of the show on the Funimation Now streaming service? That's a question I have. I mean, I'm sure they still have the license for it. They probably just did the first season because that's probably all they can do. I mean, yes, they licensed a whole boatload of manga, a whole bunch of anime from Japan. They basically compete heavily with Viz Media of how much stuff they license and dub. They do it a lot. But Funimation doesn't publish manga like Viz Media does. hmm Viz Media is a multimedia, let's say a multi-corporation thing where they publish manga, light novels, and do their own dubs. Funimation just does dubs. As far as I know, they do produce their own DVDs, which is part of the anime stuff, but they don't they don't publish anything. Like, they don't publish, like, as far as I know, they publish any newsletters, they don't publish, like, manga over here. Mostly, the only companies I can think of that publish manga over here is Viz Media, Tokyo Pop, Kusha Comics, which is one that publishes Triple X manga, and Delaware Publishing. That's basically it. Oh yeah, Dark Horse publishes manga as well. Yeah, they surprisingly still do it. Yeah, it's something that Dark Horse still publishes manga. Yep. Now, would I recommend this series to anybody? Oh yes, definitely. It's good. Now, unlike some other Funimation dubs, this one does not have any swearing in it. Nope. And also, in case you're wondering, is there any nudity in it? No, there's no nudity in it at all. I would say the closest you get to probably nudity is probably Yuko and her revealing outfits. That's basically it. I mean, you only see her in a swimsuit twice the entire series. Himawari, you see her in a swimsuit once. Yep. Though it'd be kind of something that we saw Yuko in a nude. I gotta say, for the dub, for the principal characters that are in the series, Peppercorn does a fantastic job voicing Watsuki. Seems like he seemed like he had a good time voicing him. Colin Clickebeard did a fantastic job voicing Yuko. I enjoyed listening to her voice as Yuko. I got used to the sub act, even though I didn't hear her very much. I mean, I heard just the second season and the second miniseries, and a little bit at the start of the first miniseries. She's in like briefly in the first episode of the second miniseries, and that's all you see of her. Yeah, but this overall is one fantastic series. But now let's talk about the actual sequel manga. hmm Yes. Which is basically Rei. Now, the series started out basically seeing that Yuko was alive, despite that because we at the end of the previous series that she died. And this is like this for about the first 30 chapters. Yeah, it's revealed about a little over, you might say if this is published monthly, about 30 chapters in that, yeah, the Yuka that popped up in the start of the series, that was something that apparently Watsuki created. She wasn't real. And then, of course, basically it picks up. Apparently, the whole first 30 chapters of the series was all a dream. Because there was some ringing stuff, this recurring plot thread throughout the whole thing. And then, basically, it's just picking up right where chapter 212 left off. That's pretty much where the series is set. And it's also revealed that Zeroshi is going to disappear because apparently they are running out of cold air somehow. Oh, I almost forgot to mention this in the actual miniseries. Apparently, I know this is true in real life in Japan. Apparently, they have a high inheritance tax, so people are selling the grandparents. I don't know if it's true in Japan or not. That I heard this in the show. That apparently, people are selling the grandparents' homes because the inheritance tax is so high. Why is the inheritance tax so high? Seems like a very dumb thing to do. I don't think we have something like that. I think we have antitrust laws here, but I don't know if we have an I don't know if we have an inheritance tax. I'm sure there is one. I don't know how much it is. Probably about 50% of whatever they inherited. Yep. But yeah, there's a plot there involving that, and apparently Zoroshi does not want to see Watsuki for some reason, despite the fact she's in love with him. I mean, Yeah, he can't see Himawari, but doesn't mean he can't see this other girl who's living with him. I'm surprised he just basically asked Amoroshi to take a message to her, and of course have a romantic evening for her to make her happy. I'm surprised he hasn't done that yet. And here's the weird thing about the manga: the last chapter published 2 years ago. Yes, I looked up. Apparently, the last chapter was released 2 years ago, and they've only released 56 chapters over the course of 4 years. Yes, that many amount of chapters, which I'm like, wow, that's pretty short, to say the least. Yep. Now, it's overall good manga, definitely per se. I kind of wish we continue. I kind of wish we have another chapter coming out. So, as far as I can tell for the X series itself with xxHolic, the anime is done. Completely done. I've watched the entire thing. The only things left to review is just a light novel. Yes, series has a light novel, at least one. And a live action TV series, which was only 8 episodes. I'll watch it eventually when I get a chance to find it. Otherwise, though, that's particularly it for the series for right now for xxHolic. No, this is not the final video. I'm going to do more videos in the future, mainly to review the light novel and the live action series. If in fact the manga resumes, I will probably review that. But you're probably wondering, what series am I going to start next as I finish up xxHolic? I'm going to start watching Cardcaptor Sakura. Now, there is about 3 reasons. There's about 2 reasons why. 1, done with the same people. And 2, I actually did watch some of the series when I was a kid. So I figured, though, why not? Yeah, why not? Yes, I remember watching some of the series when I was on Kids AB. I only counted about 4 or 5 episodes. I think I've watched the pilot. I watched the ending of season 1 and the end of the series itself, but that's as far as I got with it. And as far as I've heard, yes, the entire series has been dubbed. As to how many videos I plan to do for this series, it's probably going to be close to about 15, 16 videos overall for the entire series. Depends on how long it takes me to watch entirely of 70 episodes. But to get my thoughts on the anime, maybe at this rate, probably maybe either tonight or tomorrow I might get a chance to get my thoughts on some of the first episodes of the series. Yep. But next thing I'm going to do, Fairy Tail. Okay? Produce next to you. Bye.